Hi, I'm Jonathan Cox, a professor in the sociology department here at UCF. Now, the teaching strategy that I'm going to be overviewing today is called specifications grading, which was developed by Linda Nilsson. Now, specifications or specs grading is an alternative method of grading to the traditional letter grades. Now, there are several benefits to the specs model of grading. Research demonstrates that these forms of grading actually increase student motivation and can lead to higher quality work than more traditional grading systems. Specs grading can also eliminate the ambiguous and subjective measures for faculty who are doing the grading. Now, we've all struggled at times to adequately quantify the difference between an A minus and a B plus, or a C and a C minus, for instance. And so this really helps. Now, depending on how you set up the specifications, it can also give students more flexibility in their own academic achievement by allowing them to choose what grade they would like to work towards. So then, how does it work? Now, at base, specs grading is built around a model of satisfactory or unsatisfactory completion of assignments, or a pass-fail model. Now, students either earn all of the points associated with their work or none of them, based on whether or not they meet the criteria or specifications that you outline in the instructions. Now, one of the great things about specs grading is that while this may seem very formulaic, you aren't really doing anything that's much different from what you already are doing in your classes now. You already create some type of a rubric, and for specs grading, you're simply just focusing on the aspects of an assignment that you feel are most important. What do you want students to achieve in their assignments? You can use this as a basis for creating the assignment specs. Now, the specs for each assignment provide very clear, definitive guidelines for completion. When students meet all specifications for an assignment, they earn a satisfactory or 100% grade. Now, if they miss any of these specifications, then they earn an unsatisfactory, or they get 0% for their grade. So then some of you may be thinking or asking, well, what about flexibility or opportunities for second chances for students? Now, this is actually built into the specifications model of grading as well through the use of virtual tokens. Now, you can name these whatever you want, but the idea behind a virtual token is that it gives students opportunities to revise and resubmit work, or submit late work, maybe even to skip work, whatever you think works best for your class. And this also helps students learn and grow in their work. You simply indicate how many virtual tokens each student begins with in a semester. So it could be 1, 2, or 3, for instance. And then you specify how students can use them. As an example, in my courses, I let students use virtual tokens to submit late work up to 72 hours past the due date, no questions asked, or to revise and resubmit an assignment after they receive an unsatisfactory grade. Now, in order for specs grading to work, you need to be very specific and detailed with your assignment specifications. Now, the goal is to be as clear and as thorough as possible, describing exactly what you are looking for as part of a satisfactory assignment. Now, the beauty is that you are in control of what you're looking for. For example, you could focus on completeness, where as long as all questions are answered or attempted in good faith, or as long as the work meets a required length, for instance, the student then earns a satisfactory grade. The specs could also be more complex, for instance, outlining baseline criteria for a really good literature review or research proposal. And you could also create more loosely defined specifications for creative assignments, such as the creation of a reflective video or presentation. The key is to think through all of the aspects of any of these assignments that you might have in your class, and what you really want from students to demonstrate their learning, and you want to make that as clear as possible. There are two main ways to use specs grading in your courses. The first is simply to create a point system, right? Each assignment that is passed with a satisfactory grade earns the student X number of points, and at the end of the semester, the final letter grade is based on earning a certain number of points. Now, the second method is to use a bundling system, wherein a letter grade is associated with the completion of a specific bundle of assignments. So a lower grade bundle, for example, a C, that would require fewer and less complex assignments than a higher grade bundle, like an A. Additionally, You could do some type of a hybrid method that involves aspects of both of these options, or even combines specs grading with more traditional grading methods, right? The choice is really up to you. Now, I'll walk you through one of my recent courses so that you can see how I utilize specifications grading. Now remember, this is just one option, and you can tailor it specifically to your own course needs and area needs. This course is a fully online undergraduate sociology course. And there are 4 main assignments: a weekly discussion board, critical analysis memos, 3 exams, and a final reflection video. I decided to use the bundling method, and I created 4 bundles that coincide with final grades of either a D, C, B, or an A. Now for the D bundle, students are required to do the least amount of work, which meant just satisfactory participation at least 2 weekly discussions and at least 60% overall average on the course exams. For the C bundle, students need to meet the requirements for the D bundle as well as complete some additional work. So 4 weekly discussions, 1 critical analysis memo, and at least a 70% overall average on the exams. Now for the B bundle, the level of work steps up again. 6 weekly discussions, 2 critical analysis memos, and at least an 80% average on the exams in class. Now for the highest grade, an A, students must do the most work with the highest level of complexity. 8 weekly discussions, 3 critical analysis memos, a 90% average on the exams, and satisfactory completion of the final video reflection. Each student starts the course with 3 virtual tokens, which can be used with no explanations needed in several ways. For instance, students can take a missed exam or submit late work within 72 hours after the exam is closed or the deadline is passed, or they can retake an exam for a higher grade. They could also use tokens to revise a discussion post after receiving an unsatisfactory grade. I also give students the opportunity to earn up to an additional 2 virtual tokens by completing various tasks, such as submitting assignments 48 hours early, earning a 100% on any exam, or responding to more than the required number of peers on a discussion board. Now, each of these earns students 1/2 of a virtual token, and they can be done multiple times throughout the semester until those 2 additional tokens are reached. Again, you can set this up however you see fit. Now, I ask that students keep track of their own virtual tokens, but I also keep track as well. I found it helpful to create an assignment on web courses where you can add or subtract points, which equal these virtual tokens, throughout the semester, making notes through the assignment feedback that helps to indicate when and for what a student is using a token. Now, the student simply needs to just reach out to me to indicate that they want to use a token and for what purpose, and then I make note of it there. I will also go through the specifications for one assignment in order to give you an example of how to set them up. And the example I will use is for the weekly discussion board posts, which are fairly common in online courses. Now, I always first outline the general criteria for the assignment, in this case, the prompt, in the same way that you would for any course. You'll want to do this with specs grading because it's still helpful for students to know the general parameters of any assignment. You then detail the specifications so they know what specific things they need to do in order to earn a satisfactory grade. Now for the assignment specifications, I used a detailed list of questions that the students can check their work against. All of my specifications begin with a similar phrase. To achieve satisfactory on your weekly discussion post, the answer to all of the following questions, 1 through 16, must be yes. If even one is answered no, it will be graded unsatisfactory. I then list the questions or specs. You can see the specifications for this assignment on screen, so I won't go through them all. However, you can see that I split my specs up into 2 sections, format and structure, and content and substance. You want to be as detailed as possible, so I found that this method works really well. Each spec should be written in a concise manner, and you should avoid putting too much into any one spec. Think about the essence of what you want students to demonstrate and achieve, and how you want them to do it. And when I'm grading these assignments, these specifications allow me to very quickly assess whether or not a student has met the criteria. And they also give me specific feedback for why a student may not have earned a satisfactory grade. Again, a major consideration is that you need to be as detailed and clear as possible in these guidelines. Any ambiguity can result in either student confusion or a situation in which you must accept work that maybe wasn't as complete as you wanted it to be. For instance, in another class in which I used specs grading, I did not clearly state that I wanted students to make explicit direct connections to course readings. And as such, if they made really vague or uncited references, I still had to give them credit. As you can see, there's a world of opportunity for you to craft your own specifications in ways that make most sense for your course, your field of study, and what you want students to learn and demonstrate. Additionally, specs grading works just as well for graduate and undergraduate courses, particularly since it was based on adult learning theory. Now, while I have not done a formal evaluation of this method in my courses, I have used it for the 2020 summer session and currently in the fall semester with 2 courses. Additionally, 2 other faculty in my department have used it as well. And student responses have overwhelmingly been positive, particularly with regards to the idea of virtual tokens that allow students opportunities to correct work or submit late work without any penalty. Now, this method has been incredibly applicable in the time of COVID, as many students are experiencing additional stressors. Now, I hope that this video has been very helpful. If you'd like more information, I recommend picking up Linda Nielsen's book on specifications grading. With that, go ahead and give it a try, see how you like it. Thank you.